Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a great Saturday. It's a stinker here today, 35 degrees and very hot, so I am suffering today. It's the first day the whole summer that I've really felt like I'm suffering. And even Steffi said, it's hot today. And I said, yes, I'm going a bit cray-cray. And he said, yes. That's a surefire sign that it is hot. Okay, so we are at, what day are we at? 96, I think. Day 96. And this came from Amy, number 4. Amy E. And it was journal cards based around what we document. Family cards created for a story about your daughter, husband, mother, sister, and so on. So I was looking, I don't know, I just came across it one day when I was looking on my feed on Pinterest, and there was this black and white photograph, I don't know of what, and it had some embroidery on it, and I thought, that's really cool. So what I did, look at this, is Lulu. Lulu, yeah? Come and see. I printed Lulu in black and white, and she was 2 here. Super cute. Not even quite 2, I don't think. Yeah. Or were you 2 and a bit? 2007. Oh. No, she was nearly 2. And this was at a wedding in Sabaudia in Lazio, at Stefanino's wedding. Oh. And your dress was actually bright pink. That's white and bright pink, and that was bright pink and white. And then this was in Tuscany at Castello Gabbiano when we went and bought some wine. So anyway, I printed them in black and white. Did you make that dress? No. Oh. We were gifted it by... Someone gave it to us. Maybe Annabelle gave it to us. I can't remember. It was beautiful. It was such a pretty dress. It was perfect for a wedding. So what I've done is I've just printed on calico. Can I go and finish? You may. So calico, I think in the States is called muslin, or sometimes calico. And in the UK and Australia, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I know in Australia for sure we call it calico. It's just a very... basic raw sort of cotton fabric that's often used as a base for things. I've just literally stuck it on this is cardstock. This is I think this was 200 GSM cardstock. As you can see, I've used it many times. It's gross underneath because I put even envelopes on there. So what I've used a removable adhesive, spray removable adhesive. I'll show you in a second. And you can put envelopes on there as well. You open them out, put them on there, run them through your printer, and you can print on them, which is really cool. We might do that one day. I haven't ever done that. And that idea came from Vintage Ephemera Gun. Oh, that was something that I was painting and I didn't like it. Anyway, so all I did was this cardstock, and I'll show you the glue just so you know. You probably won't get the same brand as me. I don't know. I don't know what my brand is. This is my brand, Icona adhesive spray, removable. That's the important part, removable. And you spray a little bit on there, and you put it on, and you put it in your printer. Now, if you have an Epson, I don't think that, from what I've understood, I've never put it through my Epson Eco Tank. I don't believe that the Eco Tank enjoys fabric and other things going through it, but I have also an HP. I had a very cheap HP before and it worked, and I have a slightly more expensive but not too expensive at new HP, newish. I bought it at the end of last year, maybe in October last year, and it takes the fabric as well. So obviously, if you were to wash it, it's not permanent. I've heard from Patricia. Patricia is a subscriber, that you can spray it with hairspray, leave it for 24 hours, print, and then spray with hairspray again and leave it again, and that should fix it. But I haven't tried that yet. I don't feel like it's, going to be a problem for what I want to use it. I'm not going to wash this. So now I've got these, and I thought these, actually I was thinking I was going to hinge them, but probably I don't need to because I've got the fabric in the middle, and I was thinking this would be really cool. So my idea was, and it's only a vague idea, guys. You know I start my video and I always have a vague idea. Now my vague idea was that I would print the image on fabric and it would become a journaling card. Okay, but then I thought I would hinge it, and it would be at the beginning. If I were to do like a family book, it would be at the beginning of Lulu's section, and then say I would make it so you could write on the back, and then that's where you would write, you know, all of the basic details like the date, birth date, time of birth, where she was born, all that sort of stuff. That's what I thought. That was my idea. And then you could have another photograph at the back. So, and I was thinking I would hinge them. But now I'm thinking, looking at it with that space there, I could just trim it around it like that. And then actually maybe I'll rip it, and then I can have a little bit of the fabric showing. That's what I'm going to do. I've ripped it. There we go. So that can be coffee dyed or tea dyed, whatever. Avocado dyed. Anything dyed. So there's one way when you rip fabric that likes it, and the other way doesn't enjoy it quite as much. So it didn't go perfectly straight. I might just snip it. Yeah, just snip it so you've got a little border around it. Because then with the ripping, it doesn't look like it's such new fabric. See, I've just torn it a little bit close there, and the weave was not quite so straight. I probably didn't put my fabric on exactly straight. That's what's happened. And so it's not tearing straight with the image, but it really doesn't matter, guys. It's really not the end of the world. Isn't that cute? So basically this will go in a family journal, and it will be stitched into the signature like that. Okay, so one at the front and one at the back of her signature, just say. Or you could decide to separate them and hinge it to an envelope or something else. So we can decide that. Now, my thought was, what I saw on Pinterest was this black and white photograph. I don't know, it looked like a vintage sort of photograph. And it had some embroidery on it, which I thought was really lovely. Excuse me. But then I thought, not everybody embroiders. Something's tickling my throat again. And I'm not sick, guys. Don't panic. So I got this at the antique market. It's a piece of antique hemp with this embroidery. And I buy these things to use. I'll probably scan it, but you know, it's only going to be, I'll probably scan that, you know, something like that, so I can use some. Like, I would never put this out on anything, so I like to use the bits and pieces. So I was thinking this is super nice with the angle like that. Or otherwise I thought this one with the Hungarian sort of embroidery, and this has got stains and marks all over it, so I'm going to enjoy using this. I thought this one could be nice as well. And then I thought the other option is too that you could do some little embroidery on it yourself. So I brought my you know, my little tin that I made inspired by Charlotte Lyons, and I did a video on how I made that, and I thought whether I do hand embroidery or put this on, I have to stitch it on because I'm not going to glue it. So I'm thinking I don't need a lot of this, so I think I'm going to cut it. You're probably freaking out. I know. It freaks you out. I know it does. But this has, on the other end, it has stains and all kinds of stuff. So I'm not going to keep it. I am going to cut it up a bit higher than what I want. And I don't use these things. I honestly don't use them. So I prefer to use bits and pieces in projects. And then what I basically would do, and I want to see if I want this here or not. Or maybe, see, it's quite big. That's my only issue, is that embroidery is quite big, so I might not use it. I was thinking maybe there. Let me just cut out. If I don't use it here, I'll use it on something else. Now, I am thinking as I go along that I am probably going to hinge them, separate them and hinge them. I'll tell you why, because I think it'll make it easier although that's not true. I was just thinking it might make life easier to add on your sort of backing and writing sort of thing. That's a nice piece of linen with stains on it. See, I thought that would be really nice, but I wanted to get that flower, but I think this flower is, I'd have to cut that flower out, I think. Let me just separate it off because it's too big. So maybe I might have to collage it. Just a second. So as you can see, it's an evolving project. Now, for those of you who are new, you'll get used to me. I just snip everything up. I buy all this stuff to use it. I don't agree with, although each to their own, I'm not going to impose my ideas on other people, but I tend to think that it's better to use it than keep it in a drawer. And I don't think I'm going to use that. That's too big. That'll go on something else. But what I will use is this one. And I'm thinking I quite like it here. I'm going to put that one on there. I'm going to fussy cut it. So this is a way, for those who don't embroider, this is an easy way for you to get the embroidery look onto something that you're making. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to also tear this, because I've decided as I'm working that I'm going to separate them, and I'm going to hinge them, and I'm going to put that, if I'm going to hinge that, I might hinge it the other way. I'm going to put that there. That's going to go there. And then I could have this lovely piece, just sort of checking which is the right way. That could be coming down. Oh yes, I quite like that. So why don't we do that? I don't think I can tear this. No, it's very strong sort of linen. I don't think it looks like a very expensive linen, but it's quite strong. So we're going to have that pretty edge coming down here. You see, then I get great enjoyment, and when I look at that, I know where that came from, and I get great enjoyment out of it. So that's going to go there, and I think that will go under there. I'll stitch that on there. Now you could machine stitch it. I'm going to hand stitch it, I think. And this is going to become a little journal card. So we'll work on that one, and then if we've got time, we'll do the other one. I'll probably use this lovely piece here. And it's going to go, it's a way of using a little bit of that item in something that you're keeping, and not always using things in things that you're giving away. Now, I was just thinking, I've got a whole bag of new threads here because I've been running out. So we have this, this is quite good thread, this one. It's pure cotton. It's 1,000 yards. In the supermarket, you pay €6 for one of these. I know in Australia at Spotlight a few years ago, I was shocked. I went and bought 1,000 yard one for my sister's sewing machine, because I had to borrow her sewing machine to do a lot of work. And I just do that. I feel bad using other people's stuff. And so I went and bought her some thread to replace, because I knew I'd be using a lot. And it was $11 Aussie dollars, which is, well, it's about €6. So I guess it's about the same, €6 or €7. But we have this market in Santa Cangelo on a Monday morning, and it's usually, clothing, and then there's the fruit and veg section. And then there's this one store that I love going to, and they basically buy... and I'm just going to whip stitch this on. You could do it in a contrasting color if you wanted to. Yeah, they basically buy businesses that are, like haberdashery stores, really. You can buy like bras and underwear, but you can also buy trims, buttons, sewing needs, that sort of store. It's called a merceria here in Italy. When they go out of business, they go and buy their stock. And so you can get, like, that's where I buy my zips. They're really inexpensive compared to if you were to go to a haberdashery store, really, a sewing store. And so you can buy the threads very inexpensively, like a fraction of the price, a fraction. And they know me, and they always, if I, pick up 4, he'll say, get 2 more. and I'll pay the same price, sort of thing. That's how nice they are to me. So I was running out in quarantine. I had, luckily, when I go, I get 5 or 6 at a time. You know, they don't, he ends up not charging me even €2 for them. So that's how much cheaper it is. Here I'm not going over that edge there because it's hanging over the edge of my piece. Yeah, so basically I was running out with quarantine, so I needed to go and stock up. So I grabbed a whole lot, and so you know, I haven't even sorted it out yet. It's sitting there in the bag on the floor, as you do. So just going through here, doing little stitches to hold it in place. I have a thing about, I guess because I'm traditionally a sewer, and I'm not really a learnt sewer. I taught myself mostly, except for one course that I did, and then my mum. But yeah, I tend to have an aversion to, if I'm working fabric on fabric, I tend to have aversion to glue, unless it were to hold it in place like a fabric glue, like a temporary fabric glue, like the quilters spray glue that you use for basting and stuff. I'm not opposed to that, but I've actually run out of that, so I wouldn't use that for this anyway, because it's not cheap. And yeah, but I tend to like to stitch. I wouldn't get my glue out. But if you're a non-sewer, then get your glue out and glue it down, and glue it down well with your Fabri-Tac or whatever you like to use, your tacky glue, or even PVA glue works. It's just wetter, that's all, I think. But for me, I prefer to stitch it. And I know for some, stitching is painful to watch. So you can put it on double time if you want to. And this is not particularly exciting stitching, I can tell you that, because I'm just holding it in place. But I do think using vintage embroideries, I won't say antique, I'll say that they are vintage, because I don't think these ones are antique. So I think vintage is like, what is vintage? Less than 50 years, and antique is over 50 years old. But yeah, now I mean, I used to think vintage was, I guess when we were in the low 2000s, I guess vintage was more like 50s, 60s, 70s. And now I guess they've become more antique, and the vintage is has become the 70s, 80s and 90s probably. Isn't that bizarre? I find that bizarre, but that's how it is, because we're getting older, unfortunately. I certainly get a bit of nostalgia when I look back on these photographs, because those years, everyone kept telling me enjoy them, and I did, because they fly by. Well, boy, do they fly by. I used to have a shadow follow me around everywhere. So we're nearly at the top. It's pretty fast. It's not that slow. You don't have to be too fussy about it. Cute. And you could also leave a bit more and machine stitch around it if you wanted to. I think it'd be a bit fussy to stitch around with the sewing machine. I think it's easier by hand, less stressful, because, you know, fabric moves around a lot, and it has a stretchy direction and a non-stretchy direction, and so I feel like it's better to hand stitch these sorts of little, I mean, this one you could just zigzag across, but we're going to have the hand stitched look for the moment until we get the unless I decide to glue on the backing well, and then we might have, otherwise we might have some machine stitching. So this one again, well, actually this one, I might find some more embroidery and put some embroidery on there. So I think I'll just hand stitch it down. I said Hungarian embroidering. Well, it looks like Hungarian embroidery. But I have seen other areas that had something similar. So I do. It's really lovely. It's satin stitch, and they use very bright, beautiful colours. It's like what when I did. I had to be inspired by one. I chose to be inspired by it for one of the days, and I did the painting. But I actually didn't have this one. I only just got this embroidery the other day. Okay, so then we'll see, have a look at it. Cute. Now let me just see if there's any other bits of the embroidery that I might like to use. Just going to cut out a little bit more. You probably think I'm terrible. I know you think I'm terrible because I am terrible. I can't help myself. Just got to cut it up. Just got to cut it up. Isn't that, I mean, wouldn't that just be beautiful? Flippity flip. Pretty pocket too. Such a pretty pocket. Oh, I'm going to enjoy using this. I'm just wondering, do I want any more? Maybe not. Let's just see what else we can put on here. So I would, at this point, I would go into the favorite laces, I think, and just see if there's anything in there at all. I don't want to be too lacy. I don't like being too lacy. Not too lacy, just a little bit of lace. I don't mind that. Maybe I could put a little cluster up there, or maybe cluster over there. I'm just going to cut a little bit of that off. Oops. And I've got this one. Just cluster it. So I could put that there. And do I have any buttons over here? Maybe I'll put, no, I don't want to put a button. No buttons. Oh, about this little piece here. No. That's becoming too boxy. Maybe like that. Yeah, I think I'll stitch that there. Don't want to cover up that bit there. Okay. This is a lot of fun. So I did try and I did print a little on a more sort of coarse sort of hemp fabric, and I didn't like it. It didn't print as well on that. I didn't like the look of the printing. So I do recommend printing on something that's that is a finer sort of weave, not so coarse. And the other thing is you can also buy, probably on Amazon too, you can buy special fabric that goes into printers, and I think, I've never bought it before, but I think somehow the ink then stays on permanently. But I'm not sure because I haven't bought it, but you could look into that if you wanted something a little bit more professional. But I don't. I like things to be a bit more messy and rustic. As you can see, it doesn't take that long to stitch these bits on. It would be a lovely idea for, you know, like for a grandma or something, or someone, or an auntie or an uncle, you know, to make a card for them. Okay, so now I feel like I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one, just so we get it done. Now what I think I'm going to do, because it is a evolving idea as I go, I think I'm going to glue that to some glue book page. I might even, will I do it double? I'll do it single for now. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this glue. Now people ask me about my glue. This glue is Giotto, like the painter, Giotto. This is my only glue stick that I normally use, but in quarantine, I could only buy it on Amazon because the shops were closed and the supermarket doesn't have it, and they weren't allowing you to buy this sort of stuff because it was considered non-essential. So I had to buy it on Amazon, and then they ran out, and during COVID, when we were in lockdown, they weren't restocking. So then I had to buy the Pritt glue. But normally I just use this one. So right now, when I'm making a choice between the Pritt and the Giotto, this is the one I use if I'm gluing down fabric, because it's very good. It glues fabric really well. So that's that. And then I need to trim it. I probably didn't need to stick it under that bit. It should probably hang down. So, I don't want to trim it with those. I'll trim it with this, but I think I'll take it off there. I don't want it on there. So first of all, I'm going to trim it across there. I'm going to get sticky scissors. Okay, so that's not glued down. Oh, I've lost some of my frayed edge. So obviously it's easier to put the glue onto the paper and not the fabric. So probably a good idea before you do any embellishing is measure your paper. So take this, measure your paper first. That's what I think I'll do for the next one. So that's already got some sort of strength to it. But I think now, I'm thinking I'll just back it with something that can, probably kind of like it to be a little bit thicker, I think, because if you write on it, it's going to be don't need that. And I'll just glue this bit here so I don't have so much stickiness everywhere. Now I'll just have to mess about and cut it out again. But if I go like this, and put that, I'll line it up there with that bit there. That's better, and I've only got 2 sides to cut. This side I can just stick my scissors under there, lift that up, and just cut along that sentence there. I mean, you're not going to be able to see the book page, so don't worry about that, whether it's perfect or not. That's better. Okay, great. And now I'm just going to put a piece of paper on there to write on. I'm probably going to get some tea-dyed paper, I think. Yeah. I'll glue that on there. But I'll get a full sheet. And I think I might... Oh, that's got very nice pattern on it though, doesn't it? So maybe, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to measure it. There's my pencil, just looking for that. And I'll rip down there. And I'll rip along there. That's it. Now I've got to find the ruler, Where is the ruler? Don't know. Okay, well, we'll use this ruler then. Oh, I found it. So tear this. Am I losing my marking there? I am. Let me just put it over a little bit. It'll be a little bit bumpy to write on, but not too bad. No, because I've got quite a few layers here. And then we'll glue this. And it would have been nice to have the grid there, but I do like the pattern of how the doily and the colour that the doily created. When I tea-dyed it. And I'm going to grab the card and flatten it out. Great. Sorry about the noise. I like that. And we've got a nice journaling card here. Now, I'm going to hinge it. So this one, I'm going to hinge down this side. And I have to think, do I want to hinge it with a paper hinge or a fabric hinge, because it's going to be stitched into my signature. It could even be hinged to an envelope. Stick that there. Wouldn't that be cute? Hinge to an envelope. That would have had to have gone in there first. So we won't do this one to the envelope. I think I'll just hinge it with some... So I don't want it to be floppy, so I think I'm going to use this. So I need to trim it about here. And I certainly don't need it that wide. I think I'll just put my ruler on here and do the width of my ruler. This gives me a nice width, and it's about 1 inch, the ruler. Fold it in half. And then I'm going to put some glue so cute on here. I'm using my I am going to stitch down there. I will zigzag down that. And I will also, probably not zigzag, I'll probably do a straight stitch, I think. So you could have put your hinge on before you put your lace and stuff, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. So and when you hinge, you don't go too close. That's quite far, that one, but that's because I didn't want to cover up too much of my image. I could have hinged it actually in between the layers and it probably would have looked better. So there you go, there's a not what to do. Okay, so that is done. That is, I like that idea. How cute is that? That's, oh mate, it helps that it's a cute picture of Lulu too. And then I'm just thinking, I don't want to put too much on. I was just thinking I could put something up there, but I won't. I'm just going to stitch around that. And I'm going to straight stitch because I don't want to go too much over the embroidery with the sewing machine. So I'll just put it on straight stitch. And to me that would be at the beginning of, I might zigzag down that one, sorry guys. And I'll zigzag across there. And then I'm going to, when you change, when you're in the middle of sewing and you're changing, and I know those of you who've been following me for a long time know, but when you're changing from straight stitch to zigzag, always make sure you lift your needle out of the paper or the fabric because it moves and it'll break. That is my little project. Oh, I love that. I'm very pleased with how that turned out. I don't think we'll do any hand embroidery on anything. Cute. And that, well, I'll attach that to something else. I'll attach it, I don't know, I could attach it to the envelope that way. That would be cute. I'll attach it to the envelope and that would go in a signature. And then you can decorate the envelope. So that's that one. Now this one, let me think about this. This one would be, so I would want it to go that way. So I would hinge it on that side. So I've got to put my decoration on this side. And this one, I could put my decoration on there and cover up that bit there. And as I mentioned before doing any embellishing, I'm going to get smart. And actually, this one will fit on here and I can just fold this in half. Some glue. And let me just measure it so it's slightly bigger. So what I will do is put it there. I'll put a marking here and a marking there and I'll get my trimmer and trim that off. So that I'm more organized with it. I've got, 2 pages. Oh, let's glue this one down because that's where I got my markings. Okay, so trim this one off and trim that one off. And that's going to be my backing. So that will glue onto there. Cute. And then I thought I would use this other embroidery that I really like. So I need to I'm not going to finish this one in the video, but I'll just show you the idea. You don't have to sit through that again. And I'm going to just cut it across there. I'm going to just cut this whole piece off because I want it at the angle. I want it to go up the side. And a good way to use up these embroideries and things that you probably would never use otherwise. So I'm going to need it to go to about there. So I need to cut that bit off about there. And I don't want to waste the hemp because I'll use that. So I'm going to cut it closer like that. And I eyeball my measurements. And I'm probably not going to use, I'm going to trim it like so. I might keep that bit there. I mean, that little bit can go on something else. So you just sort of do a very vague fussy cut. You're not doing like a fussy cut. The strumming man is strumming his guitar away. I'm going to try and pay attention. Let's see if he does the same bit of the same song 50 million times. Just measuring it there. Oh, perfect. So I think I'll end it right there where there's a gap in the embroidery. Lulu, want to see what I did for you?
For me?
Well, it would go in a journal that I one day make for us.
Oh, cool.
You like that?
Yeah, very cool.
You were pretty cute.
Yeah.
Well, most kids are pretty cute. Except for the monster. Well, he's cute, but he's still a monster.
You're mean.
I'm not mean. You say the same. He is cute. He's cute. He's cute to look at, but he has monstrous behaviour.
True.
True. You know that. So we're covering up that bit there, and that's going to go across there. See?
Yeah.
I might have something coming down there as well. But anyway, that's the idea. And that will be hinged on that side.
What is that thing?
What?
That.
Oh, it was sent to me. But I put too much water in my glue. Now the glue's too runny.
No, I don't think that's holding it.
It's a hand.
Oh. Cool. I couldn't understand what it was.
Yep, so I have to play around with them. And I think I like it down a bit further and I have to put something up there. Anyway, that's the idea. So this is a, I would do this for, I think I'll do this sort of thing for many family members, I think, for the beginning of their section in the journal. I think that's cute.
Yeah.
Could have a little label up there. Right, Lulu.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think a little label up there would be nice too.
Yeah.
Or embroidered. I could have embroidered, Lucy. That would have been nice. Well, I could always embroider a piece of fabric and then put it on there. I could always do that. So yeah, so that's that idea. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye. Hi, I'm back. I just wanted to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to show you the better way that I think to construct this is. Okay, so I measured this before I did any stitching, and I cut it out, and I've also backed it with my tea-dyed paper. This one's slightly wider than the other one because I left the white bit there, the not printed bit there. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to put my hinge in between this, and then we'll stitch around it. I think that's going to be an easier way. Like it's, you know, it'll be covered then, the hinge. That's what I mean. It's not going to cover up the image like that. Although it's not too bad. But anyway, I'm going to do it this way. So I need to glue this to here. So I'm just going to fold that. And I need to glue, I actually can run my glue along here because I'm going to be gluing on my image as well. So I don't have to worry about it. And I'll just grab this and line it up as best I can. Great. Like so. And then I'm going to put my fabric glue, which is the Giotto, everywhere on here, and then I'll glue down my printed image on fabric that I've been stitching. And then I'll be stitching around it as well. Oh, and I also changed up my composition. I decided to cut that flower, I fussy cut around a little bit further. I put one of my favourite laces and I put only a piece of that other one because I felt, I don't know, something, I felt like it was a bit too much. I don't know why. So you just glue that down there. Putting the hinge on the other side, it just means it will go in a different, you know, it'll open out like that because that will be attached. Let's say that will be attached to something like that, and that will be stitched into your journal, or as I said, it could be a card, it could be many, many different things. I think that's so cute. So then I just stitch around that. I'll do it afterwards, and I'll put photographs of both of them at the end. But that's I thought about doing the hand embroidery, and I probably will do something with hand embroidery on this sort of, develop this idea a bit further and do some with hand embroidery. But for those who would like an embroidered look and don't embroider, because it's not for everybody, you could put these sorts of things on these vintage embroideries. So there you go. So I'm really happy with those, and they'll go in different directions in the journal. And for example, in Lulu's case, like I would I'll probably end up doing a journal documenting what I can remember, and my mother-in-law remembers lots of things as well, so we'll put our heads together and remember things. And I probably do pretty much most of her years. So this would be 2. She was 2 in these photographs. So, and that would be the signature from when she was 2, at the beginning and the end. And I was also thinking, just before I go, I might stamp Lulu. I think embroidering it would have been lovely, but I might stamp it. So you could have something stamped there. I think I'll stamp Lulu there. Yeah, I think I will. That's what I'll do, but I'll do that another time. So there you go. So I'll stitch up that other one, and then I'll photograph them, and then I can post the video. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.